Welcome to this public meeting for the Island Council for this, the 20th day of February 2025. I would ask everyone to please stand for the sixth item. Thank you. You may be seated. There are no announcements. We move on to agenda point number 2, approval of the agenda. Council Lady Stevenson.
Mr. Chairman, good afternoon, everyone. I'm here today, present here and also via the live story. I would like to add 2 points to the agenda. One is the Memorandum of Understanding for the Island Councils of Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba. And the second point is a joint letter response to the State Secretary for Kingdom Relations as a follow-up to the amendment of the wall that's in Findas.
Okay. If you all would approve, then the new agenda point number 8 would be the Memorandum of Understanding, and number 9 would be the joint letter, and number 10 would be the closing. Agree with that? Order? Okay. The agenda is approved. Point 3 on the agenda, approval of the minutes. Point 4 on the agenda, oral question time in accordance with Article 36 of the Rules of Procedure. We have received a number of questions and information requested by the council, so we'll begin with Island Council member Mr. Orlando Wilson.
Good afternoon, my fellow colleagues, government, commissioners, and listeners. Welcome to our first Island Council meeting for the year 2025. Mr. Chairman, I have submitted some questions to the Executive Council. Let's start with here now. Did the Executive Council have a reflection on all matters that took place in 2024? It is by looking back we can see the way and moving forward. What about Saba 2030 plan of action? Where is it now? On energy, lately we've been having some problems with our electricity company. And they've been giving up reports and things. How significant is this? Also, concerning the Blair Orchestra instruments, I would like to know how the progress has been going with that. Are all instruments being used, and is there anything put in place for these students when they leave the primary school to continue with the skills that have developed? We need to continue developing our culture, talents on the island. Is there room to teach adults who would like to learn these skills? Why is there such a high turnout over the principals at the primary school? What is the cause for a lack of teachers at a secondary school? Is there a plan in place to meet the needs of the students who have not been received the lessons that's needed? Is it true that in EC2 it's full to the capacity of students that have learning issues? I understood that there will be more students coming in for learning issues in the kindergarten classes. Is there a plan put in place to assist these teachers? A great concern is also the academic level on the students going from one class to the other, and the move of said students to the secondary level, and the schools meeting the academic goals. If we can recall, the inspector's finding was not a positive one. Mr. Chairman, I would like to know how far the tender is now. Bids came in, or have they been open already for the Peter Lester Gym? Can the Commission give an update on this? Is there a plan put in place for the gym and sports lessons to be elsewhere during the construction of the rebuilding? Can an explanation be given about the enrichment center so that the whole community can hear about it? I sent in a question also about the swimming pool, but we had a presentation here this week and that was off for now. But I still would think down the road somewhere, through Mr. Chairman to the Commission, that we should fight and see to get that, because a lot of senior citizens need that for recreation. A lot, believe me. What were the findings on the delegation that visited the medical institutes in Colombia? What was the purpose? Will this be beneficial for SABA and the other islands? I would like some clarity on the new SABA Healthcare Office. What you're hearing, that's such a beautiful building there with run up, no steel in the corners or whatever. I know in our time, I'm still there, before any building like that goes up, we meet the planning bureau is involved when we enter for the building to make the audit. I don't know anybody from the planning bureau supervising the building at that time also there too. Because in the future that should be, where it is, what type, this is government funds, public funds own that, so that these slip-ups don't happen at all in the future. What is being done to correct this big oversight? And Mr. Chairman, I would like to find out really, although we got an overview on all the different projects here this week, but I would like to know, is there any new projects from the EU? What is the EU policy this time? The last one we had was the energy, went signed for it and Caledonia, yeah. Caledonia, yeah. With the solar power back. I'd like to know if there's any more new things coming up from the EU. That's it, so.
Okay. Thank you, Island Council Member Mr. Wilson. We'll deal with this one first instead of going. So we'll start with the answers to these questions by the Executive Council, and then the follow-up questions based on the answers, then we'll go to the second round. We start with Commissioner Bruce Davis. Had a few of them to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon to everyone present here today and those following via social media. I will address as much as I can the questions that relate to my portfolio. The initial question was about reflection on 2024. I believe that's always important. You can only learn from what you've done. But this is an ongoing process. You know, we see this in different implementation reports, quarterly reports. And then again, you know, there'll be an overall evaluation to the year report. You know, this is a discussion that not only happens here with the Island Council, but also we discuss these things with department heads. So this is nothing really new. We always strive to do better in the following year. So I can assure you how those discussions continue. As for the plan 2030, there hasn't been much attention on that. That was during a period where the former Island Secretary was there, you had a Deputy Island Secretary, and there was more focus onto that plan. I believe now with this administration, there's more discussions about a governing program that will lead to 2027. That was shared with the council. The execution plan for the governing program was shared with the council earlier this week. So there's not much of an update that can be given for the SIBA 2030 plan. As for the energy concerns, these have been discussed with SEC. I must say that, you know, more recently SEC has been communicating more often when they expect power outages. I believe that's something that should be applauded, and I'm sure that how that's appreciated by the consumers as they can better plan when there is going to be outages. So I do believe that SEC is doing a much better job now with that. Right now they're operating under a green risk level, meaning to say that, you know, they have the ability to reach the demand. So there's no concerns that, you know, they aren't able to reach, you know, what a consumer needs in the sense of electricity. As for the power outages, you know, these were, things that happen, not necessarily nice, but, you know, issues such as mechanical, software, and grid-related complications. But, you know, they have been working very hard to try to get these addressed, and I believe for the most part, they have been addressed. We have seen that for the past few weeks now there has been less outages, even though potential outages were addressed, announced, but they never did happen. Just this week they put a new engine online, and they again published how this could lead to outages, but it never did happen. So it's also good to see that they have a new engine online that also, you know, helps them with the whole risk level, which is green at the moment. So I do think that, you know, they are working towards, you know, having a better, stable supply of energy. Okay. So I believe that addresses the questions that were asked to me during the first round of questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Zegas, for answering those questions. This meeting is now adjourned until further notice. I'm not sure what time, if we commence, but we have to adjourn this meeting. Good afternoon. Once more, this meeting of the Island Council is reconvened. We have to do some changes to the order of the meeting. Commissioner Zegas had just answered some questions posed by Island Council member Mr. Orlando Wilson. There are more questions to be answered, but due to unforeseen circumstances, we have to change the setup. We will come back to those questions and other questions that other Island Council members pose at a later date. But right now we need to go to other points on the agenda to deal with them because of their importance. So we will skip over some of the points, but in a subsequent Island Council meeting we will come back to those agenda points and also will continue with the answers for Island Council member Mr. Orlando Wilson. So now we will move on to agenda point number 8, the Memorandum of Understanding. I will allow Island Council Lady Ms. Elsa Peterson to explain.
Good afternoon again, everyone. So today, as chair of the summit, I am going to present this MOU on behalf of the Island Council of Saba. Before moving to the proposal, Mr. Chairman, I would just like to say that today marks a significant milestone, one that reflects not only hard work, but the power of the collaboration between our 3 islands. And as I present this MOU for everyone's formal approval, I am reminded that none of our islands stand alone because we are in this together. And it is through open dialogue, mutual respect, and a shared vision that we have arrived to this point after quite some time. The summit was a testament to what we can achieve when we work together, when we listen to each other, and also when we challenge each other, because this has not been an easy road. It wasn't always easy, and it isn't going to be always easy, because we are 3 different islands, 3 different visions, and we don't need to always agree, but it's important that we stick together. So this MOU is not just a step, but it's a good foundation, one that will strengthen our ties and pave the way for the way we continue to cooperate in the future. At this time, I would also like to extend my sincere gratitude to each of you here today for your dedication. So to my colleagues in the Island Council, our registrar, to all other councils involved here today and those abroad, but also not forgetting our legal advisors who assisted from the beginning to the end result of the MOU. And again, this is a collective achievement, and we could have never done this without doing it together. So thank everyone. And with that, I would now like to proceed to the proposal of the MOU, which will be read by the chairman.
Thank you, Island Council Lady Ms. Peterson. So as is customary, I will read the proposal. For this, the 20th day of February 2025. The subject is the Memorandum of Understanding between the Island Councils of Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba. The proposal is to ratify the Memorandum of Understanding between the Island Councils of Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba. The Island Councils of the public entity of Saba, in a meeting with the Island Councils of Bonaire and Statia on June the 24th, 2024, in The Hague decided to establish a Memorandum of Understanding for cooperation between the Island Councils in the form of a summit. This cooperation can be helpful in serving common interests or successfully dealing with common challenges. The Island Councils will meet at least twice a year. The chairmanship will rotate between the Island Councils every year. The rules of procedure of the presiding island will apply during the summit. A list of decisions from the summit will be made and adopted. Each summit will install a working group. An island council that wishes to withdraw from this agreement will inform the other councils of this as soon as possible. This Memorandum of Understanding shall terminate if 1 or more island councils withdraws from it. The legal basis is Article 136, the first paragraph, and 173 of the Law of Public Entities, Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba. the MOU, this memorandum of understanding goes into effect the day after it is signed by all island councils and will be evaluated after 1 year. It is this was the actual memorandum, and that will be signed after also. Okay, so that is a proposal to ratify that. So I look around, is there a need for motivation of approving this, or can we proceed to approving the memorandum as presented? Yes? Okay, so the memorandum of understanding between the island councils of Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba is approved. Then we go on to agenda point number 9, the joint letter, which is also a result of the summit which was held on Saba last week. Island Council Lady, Ms. Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as the Chairman mentioned, as a result of the summit last week also, we came to a conclusion to send a joint response. And as Chairman of the summit, I'm going to present on behalf of the Island Council of Saba. This letter addresses the manner or the approach in which the State Secretary of BZK had handled the process of the WALBEST and FinVest. And I would just like to mention that during my time in the council thus far, we have engaged in several consultations regarding the WALBEST and FinVest, the most recent being in the bill last year with former State Secretary Van Huffelen. During those discussions, I believe we reached clear conclusions on how we would proceed, and most importantly, this was done with the involvement of the islands and their governments in which these changes would affect. And I think that was very important in the way that was done. We keep hearing of the role of the RV and those things, but this matter goes beyond the role of the Kingdom representatives. It speaks to the principle of rule of law, good governance, and mutual respect. Any proposed changes to these laws should be approached through open and transparent consultations with the islands itself. It is also concerning that we first learned about these developments through the media rather than direct communication. There are mixed feelings whether this delay to possibly be in 2031 is a blessing or a curse, and that is not for us to determine through this response. What is important is that we make it clear to BZK that the approach in which they have taken with these changes is unacceptable. And I fully support this joint response from Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba, and I hope that as a result, the State Secretary reopens the door for meaningful dialogue and adopts a more collaborative approach moving forward. And I now present the letter.
Thank you, Island Council Lady Ms. Elsa Peterson. So this letter which Island Council Lady Ms. Peterson refers to is being ratified today by all 3 island councils. It was already done, I think, yesterday by Monday by Bonaire, I think today by St. Eustatius, and now by Saba. And then after it's ratified here, it will be made public. It will be sent to the State Secretary, and including the Council of State, the Second Chamber, First Chamber, and the Council of Ministers. So, and Council Lady Peterson explained it very thoroughly, the contents of the letter. So with that, can I request your approval on this letter? Yes, so the letter, the reaction of the joint letter is approved as presented. Okay, thank you for that. So as I stated before, we still have a number of points to go through, but due to some personal issues, we will have to come back to those. So I will adjourn the meeting, and we will inform the public and also you, the council members and the executive council, when we will reconvene this meeting. So for now, this meeting is adjourned until further notice. Thank you.